Hi, this is Mark again. This is podcast number 4. Today I am sitting here with Denise, actually someone that does not want to be anonymous. She's a professional artist, as a singer, songwriter. She's been writing for a number of years. She lives in New Jersey. She might consider putting some music up on Lovappy, and we're going to spend a little time explaining exactly what Lovappy is and how artists can take advantage of it. And then we're going to get into a little bit of Denise's love life and things that she's gone through in life. Denise, thanks for coming tonight. We're at one of your favorite pizza parlors. What is the name of this place?
Edison Pizza in Edison, New Jersey.
Edison Pizza, yeah. They were so nice. We're sitting in the back here and, nice surroundings. And they were so gracious to let us come back here. We bought a pizza for the laundromat, so we're doing some business with them. But I hope that if anybody's listening to this and they live in the Edison area or they're passing through Edison, that you'll bring some business to Edison Pizza. Thanks for that. So Denise, tell me about yourself.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in a small town in upstate. Well, it's not really upstate, suburbia, New York. I always say upstate because I lived in Staten Island, and when you're there, it's proximity to, it's considered upstate. But it's a small town. I grew up in Sleepy Hollow, New York. I had a very creative childhood, outdoorsy, Girl Scouts. I mean, everything that you could think creative, I did. Painted, music. I started singing, maybe 8 years old in church. My parents had me in the church choir, and it was a little town I grew up in also, a very small town feel. I mean, we used to do things like run outside in our bathing suits in the rain, and it was comfortable. It was a very good early beginning. I got married a little later than usual. Most girls my age had already been married. So I got married and I was 33, had a baby at 35, got married, got divorced. And really just now I'm just finding my way more with music. I mean, I kind of put it aside when I was raising my son because I wanted to focus mostly on being a mom. And my ex-husband is also a musician, so he kind of had that role for a while. But I've been divorced now since 2014, and I'm really just coming into my own with music. I mean, I would say that music saved me during my divorce because it became the channel for all my emotions. And now it's just taking off to a place where everything I write, I want to write it and put it on the guitar.
Oh, that's great. So, as you know that we've discussed with Lovappy, we think that music is a communication source. We also think it's a free speech source. But in this case with Lovappy, which is a dating app, we think that people can communicate with each other more clearly through the depth of a poet or a songwriter with music, because it's just the way the world works. I mean, I've dated so many women that have been so involved with the lyrics of songs, I felt like I had to get to know the bands that they were really attached to. So do you think you have music that can move people?
I think I have music that can move people, that people can relate to, and I would absolutely agree with that music is a communicator. From the way you stomp your feet when you go up the steps, that's a sound. I was a cheerleader also, so there goes the stomping. It's like a drum, it's an incredible thing when you just sense people because of when you know sound. I could close my eyes and it's almost like I have eyes in my ears is the best way that I could explain it.
Do you think sound brings the best of us across?
Absolutely, without a doubt. But it also brings the worst of us too, because if you're down and out and you listen to a sad song if you can't focus on the sad stuff when you're down, because it will bring you to the bad place.
Right.
You have to listen to what's appropriate for you at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess different types of music for different types of people.
Definitely, but for situations also, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to if you want to wake up in the morning and you put something really heavy and rocking on the radio, you get to work, you want to come down a little, so then you got to put on something mellow. You can't always stay in one direction with your music.
Yeah, I'm a little weird. I wake up to the Star Spangled Banner, but that's just me.
That's not weird. I kind of like that idea.
Anyway, I went camping not long ago, and as a joke, I woke the person up in the next tent with the Star Spangled Banner.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I like the theme song from Rocky when I'm working out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Certain songs get you pepped up and ready to go.
Could you make a song like Rocky? Do you think
I could do definitely because I was a cheerleader, so I'm definitely into peppy, happy, like promote people type music.
Yeah, that was very orchestral, the Rocky theme.
Yes.
And so many motivating songs are orchestral. I hope that comes back from live musicians. I think we need that.
I think it will. It's like a power ballad of sorts, you know?
Right.
It's got that whole uplifting theme to it, you know?
Right. Do you think other musicians might be interested in sending up their music to Lovappy? I mean, we have a 60-40 split. We charge $1.99. The person receiving the song gets a copy of the song. The person sending the song gets a copy of the song. And then the $1.99 we split. The musician gets 40% and Lovappy gets 60%. Of course, we're concerned with copyright. We're concerned with protecting original music. But I think that this might be a revenue stream if we can build our audience of people that are out there dating.
Yeah.
And if we can do a proper job introducing the music.
I think it's a fabulous idea, and I feel like as a musician, I've got nothing to lose with it. I mean, I've only got something to gain, and why not? If there's so many new avenues to get your music out there today, being iTunes and whatever else, I mean, I don't see why anybody would say no to it. I think it's refreshingly new, and it's also very creative, and I get goosebumps about it because it just feels like it's the right time, like right now, it's good for the time.
Right. I think what we're going to do as well, and I'm positive this is what we're going to do, as we build a good amount of artists into it, and we keep track through data collection of who's the most popular artist we're introducing to our audience, which songs are being sold the most. We'll probably do, for dating events, small venue concerts, which people that are interested in dating each other, or even couples, can show up and listen to these original artists perform 3-5 songs, whatever we can, and of course compensate the artists, because that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
We can't have artists that are starving in this world.
Right.
We have to compensate them so they keep writing.
Yes.
And so we can get some great music that changes the world.
It's wonderful, and it's wonderful exposure, all kinds of exposure that you're thinking of doing. And I think that for someone like me who's been kind of I feel kind of stifled as an artist because I kind of did it to myself in some ways, just being in the marriage and focusing on being a mom. But you can get stifled very easily, and your voice really needs to be heard, or else you don't feel good. It comes down to you can get physically unwell if you're not heard when you're an artist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
For me, it has been manifesting as stomach aches, as TMJ in my jaw.
Oh, really?
Because when you sing, you're using you're dropping your jaw certain notes,
Right.
and that's why I also believe that everyone should take a singing lesson if they're having trouble breathing, if they're having any tension in their face, because you learn that the techniques that you learn are very transferable into daily life.
Yeah, I sang once on a cruise ship, only because I was very unhappy with the girl I was on a cruise with, and I knew I had a horrible voice, so it was used as a weapon. And believe me, it can clear a room.
That's
So
funny.
I don't know if I would take any singing lessons.
just for the breathing aspect of it.
Yeah, the breathing aspect.
Yeah.
I cannot carry a note. So
it's funny.
anyway, since we're talking about Lovappy, and most of our interviews have been focused about love and
Yeah.
where people are in love, can we have a short discussion about your love life?
Of course we can.
Was there one guy that you missed out on?
The guy that I missed out on was the guy that I divorced. He was my
that's
soulmate,
beautiful.
and he probably he knows it, and he is also a musician. And I think what happened with us is we just couldn't play together anymore. And when you can't play together anymore, you can't be in a relationship together. So
Well,
it's
what brought you to the point where there were no notes that you could share?
financial difficulty, financial stress. He lost his job, but we lost our home. He was laid off. So when all that, pardon my language, shit hit the fan, it just, we held it together for as long as we could. And then it drains you. And we have a child, and it just couldn't work. Families had to get involved to help, and then there's pride. And I'm a very proud person. I come from Italian, Irish, Polish, German, Lithuanian. I'm very proud.
Don't mess with you.
Don't mess with me. No, I'm the nicest person you would ever meet.
Right.
But I'm very blunt and direct and to the point if you mess with me.
Our episode number 2, I believe I was talking to a Broadway actor, also an artist, and he brought up the fact that he worked as a fishmonger. He had a bunch of different jobs. And I said, well, did your wife ever care that you didn't have a job? He says, I always had a job, because it would have been the end of it.
It wasn't that way with my ex and I, because I wanted him to pursue music only, because I knew that when your passion is not being pursued, it affects the relationship. Now, there were times where I'd be like, oh, another band that's not going to pay you great, and roll my eyes because the kid needs to eat. But at the same time, I knew, because I was an artist myself, not working in the crafts, knowing what it feels like if you don't have the thing that you love that you need to do. You can't work a regular job then. You have to combine it with, at least for us at the time, that's how it was. And if he had said to me, I'm going on tour, I would have said, uh-oh, but then I would have been like, yes, that's what you need.
Right. Has he played for some big bands?
He hasn't lived up to his potential, unfortunately. He had one band that was really great. They were a Zeppelin tribute band called Custard Pie, and they were really something.
Wow.
And they played at Woodstock for that little reunion thing that they have
wow.
up there.
Yeah.
And I know that was his moment of glory, but the hardest thing has been the politics of the band. And who's got a life and whose wife doesn't like it and who's a Yoko Ono type, you know? So it's sad in a way, but because he could just pick up anything and play it. However, he can't sing. And that was he always used to say that to me. Well, you can sing. Well, you can sing. I'd be like, yes, okay, I can sing. But it got to be kind of, I think, a thing for him.
Well, I hope that the two of you find your sound, since he's your soulmate.
I think that it's run its course. I know that it's run its course, and I'm not open to that anymore. And it's not as sad as it sounds because it's very freeing for me. And I'm a believer in never closing a door, but right now it's shut pretty much. It's not locked, but it's shut.
I can understand your point as a woman. I think my ex-wife wrote the song "Good Riddance" right when our marriage ended. But
don't you come back no more. No more, no more, no more.
Yeah,
right.
we're good friends, and I'm sure you're good friends with your ex.
Well, we're working it out. Let's put it that way. We're working it out for our son.
Good. You want to get into anything deep about your relationship?
If you'd like, yeah, I could get into something.
Tell me the history of your relationship.
Okay.
And what happened.
Okay.
Your fault, his fault.
Addiction on both our parts. For me, thank goodness, it never really went anything deeper than food. I mean, I guess binging, not purging, but binging and eating to feel alive. And I woke up so many times and would lose weight and then gain weight. And I've lost 110 pounds twice in my life.
Wow.
This last time it's stuck, and I'm proud to say that I've broken the cycle of addiction. But when it's food, it's tough because you need to eat to live. But I've learned a lot about myself through that. Now, for him, there's other addictions.
I understand.
And to go into them without him here is not really something I wish to do. But he definitely would say, too, that he had a food thing. I mean, because we would eat together. We're eating buddies, cope through food. And I think we met and we fell in love through our pain more than anything. And then, the highs and the lows, the joys and everything else. Sometimes it just didn't work after a while.
What in particular was a deep pain that you felt? What was your deep pain?
My pain mostly was that I couldn't fix myself or anybody else. And I learned to fix from a very young age because I felt my parents were always trying to fix me because I had anxiety from the age of 14.
Right. Did anything bring that anxiety on?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend who I was close with in school, and she tried to kill herself. And that was a trigger for me because I just didn't know. I was already struggling as new in high school, not knowing finding my way. Middle school was so good. I was so smart in school. And just it was such a change to be 14 in a new school, even though it was a small town. But yeah, I mean, it rocked my world when that happened, and I just went really down, really low. But I just struggled with anxiety mostly, you know.
So it wasn't your life, it was someone else's life that you were empathizing with.
It was, but it was also my family, too, at the time. Both my parents suffer from anxiety, and there's all kinds of mental illness in my family. So it was like a double whammy.
Well, looking at society today, I think that there's a lot of mental illness. Thank God for the people that are normal out there. Yeah. That, I guess, maybe keeps us all together.
Well, you know what I've come to realize, Mark, that everybody has a sort of mask on, and then I told my son, I explained it's a mental illness mask, whether you're diagnosed with something or not. If you're depressed one day, your mask is on. If you're anxious one day, but it's not who we really are. So there's no one who's not addicted to thinking. Right. Thinking is an addiction. So even for me, over food, thinking became more so than anything else because it just was something that I could do to feel comforted. I'd have a voice telling me something, not in a schizophrenic kind of way, just in a normal way. Whatever I was doing, that soundtrack, that voice, was always there. And I had to learn to meditate, to sit in my room and be still for 1 hour every day. That was just the strict beginnings I had. To see that that voice goes and comes and goes, just like anxiety comes and goes, just like depression comes and goes. Right. To break that addiction.
Did you have different types of binges?
Such as what?
I don't know.
Just with food mostly.
No, but I mean, was there like a dessert binge at night?
Certain things I loved. Oh my goodness, salty. Anything salty. I would eat a giant can of Pringles and then eat some more.
Did you rationalize overeating?
No, I always knew it was the wrong thing to do, so I beat myself up about it. Which is,
Right.
That's hard too.
Did you eat in public or did you?
I ate in public, but I was a nervous eater. I would pick at my food. I wouldn't think somebody might be watching me.
Right.
Anytime I was going to binge eat, I would do it in front of my ex-husband. It wasn't a problem because we did it together.
Right. So did he start binge eating because he wanted to be like you?
No, he binged. He had trouble before me with his upbringing. He had his own issues that caused him to gain and lose weight also. He was more like a woman with his weight. He was always very sensitive about his weight.
Okay. And he's up on stage, so
Right.
he's playing a guitar and he wants to be that tall, thin rock and roll star.
Sure, there's a persona.
Right. Right. Well, that's interesting. Well, when was the first time you noticed that you were binging or that you were overeating?
Goodness.
Was there an embarrassing
14,
moment
15.
when you were a kid?
Embarrassing, so many. I mean, I would just sneak into the kitchen at night. My mother would yell. She'd hear me in the other room. She'd, hey, who's in the kitchen? What are you doing? Put that away. And those things just kind of stick with you. I had a grandmother who was really tough on me. Mm-hmm. She called me names sometimes. And there was one time I remember at her house on a holiday, I wouldn't try the Miracle Whip mayonnaise because we usually had Hellmann's. And I was very fussy also as a child. Mm-hmm. And she called me an asshole. And I remember that very vividly.
That's terrible.
It was terrible. And my parents thought it was terrible, but my mother couldn't stand up to my grandmother. My father did, though. My father did. And I remember crying on the porch. It was Easter Sunday. And she was a good woman, but she just had her moments,
Right.
She had her moments.
Right.
So.
Anyone else insulting like that, or?
I was always insulted growing up. I mean, when I would cry, they would make fun of me. They used to say, he used to point at me and say, look, she's doing one eye, because I cried with one eye open.
Oh.
I mean, I was always a sensitive child, I guess because of the music and for whatever reason. And yeah, they had nicknames. They called me the witch in my house growing up. Mm-hmm. So it was rough.
Hence
when
the
I was
witch's
younger.
ball.
The witch's ball, yes, the
Right.
meetup. Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a witch's ball, which I'm going to place on the Trail Shrinks website. I promise you. I haven't had the time, but I will.
Okay. Yes, because I am part of a excellent meetup group.
Right. What's the name of that one?
It is called Separated and Divorced Social Meetup.
Awesome. And I always try to promote other meetups. And I always ask other meetups to try to promote us, and we get the big hang up. But you're helping us out, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. And it's all this stuff I'm talking about has come full circle for me. I know that my family, it was just an inherited thing. And I forgive very easily. And especially through this meditation, I understand that some of it they had no choice. And where we've got a healthy relationship now, everyone in my family, they're very loving people.
Yeah, meditation has been suggested to me so many times. But personally, I feel like I'm always meditating.
That's true. It's supposed to transfer into life. There has to be a point where you're not sitting in your bedroom. I mean, I was just really bad with my thoughts. I had to force myself to be so disciplined. But now I don't do it as much because I'm talking to you right now in a meditative state. If I'm really here and present, that's meditation.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I my career as a roofer is so peaceful because it's so physical.
Yeah.
There's really no time to really waste on thinking about stupid things.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh man, yeah, that hurts. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's like a constant massage of pain.
It's like you better be aware or else you'll fall off the roof.
Yeah, you better be aware. You're there. You're in the moment, they say.
Right.
So let's get back to talking about growing up.
Okay.
14, 15, we know you had a friend who tried to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. Your grandmother seems to have been someone that found insult as a way of motivation, or did she just want to hurt you?
She just had her own issues. She didn't want to hurt me because other times she was so loving and giving. She just had some deep issues,
Right.
I know that now. I didn't know that then, of course.
That brings me to the subject of parents. I mean, you're a parent. I'm a parent. What about your parents? How were they?
Well, they were also, when I say the things I said before about the one eye and the witch, that was my parents doing that. That wasn't right from my grandmother. That was my family life.
Even though they would probably be joking with you, it hurt you?
Yeah, I was that sensitive. I am that sensitive, and that's part of being an artist.
Right. Man, my kids are screwed then because I joked around with them so much.
It depends. It depends on the personality. It depends on how you in context. There were times that they joked and I laughed, but I
Right.
guess it was just as I was changing, go through puberty, those tough times, and that was the same age as my 14. My girlfriend's, hurting herself. It was the timing of it all. Because prior to, I used to laugh with them. I used to joke with them too. It's when you go through the hormonal changes, every man, woman, any stage, it's rough.
Right. Well, since you got on the subject of men and women, which do you prefer?
Men.
Okay. And how's your dating life going?
It's interesting right now. I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, good.
It's a positive interesting.
Oh, that's good. I see a big smile on your face, so.
Yeah, there's someone that I'm interested in, and I just want to take it really slow. For the first
good.
time, I'm doing it the way that it's smart. And, I think about him a lot. And he kind of came back into my life, or I kind of brought him back in. And he's just a really, I want to say safe guy, but safe is never sexy. So I'm not going to say that.
Right.
He's just, I don't even know what it is about him. He's easy. He's easy to talk to. Mm-hmm. He seems I don't know him that well, to tell you the truth, but I feel like I know him kind of.
Okay.
So it's I think it's going to be a good thing.
Oh, good. That's good. I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
That sounds exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, I personally have about 12 different text message love affairs going on, none of which are returned, but I'm hoping that they're being absorbed.
You make me laugh. You're funny.
Anyway, no, I think after a certain point of dating, I've been out dating for 20 some years. Sometimes you just stop or just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But there is a loneliness epidemic
Sure.
out there, and I'm hoping that Lovappy will help alleviate some loneliness, bring people closer together. So, what songs have you been writing lately?
Well, I have this one song that I've been working on for the longest time, and it's the one that just keeps coming back to me in different riffs, different forms, and even now it's not finished. The lyrics have been done, and I wrote it for my ex-husband when we were reconciling last year.
Nice.
And I would say it's the most important song to me right now.
Nice.
Because even though we're not together, it's just, I don't know, for me it's just powerful. It just feels good.
Do you want him to find love?
I hope he finds love because I want him to feel whole again. And I want our son to have two good parents. He has two good parents. I want him to see his father with the joy, the deep down good heart that I know he has. I want my son to experience that.
Well, I hope that if your husband hears this podcast that he'll...
Ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
We should just make that clear.
Right. We should all have little X's on our foreheads. But I hope that he'll hear this podcast and then he'll step up and bring some of his music with a partner to Lovappy, so he can make some money.
I hope he does. He's a fabulous writer. He hasn't really written many songs, but he does. It could be so easy for him if he could just take the plunge. So I don't know.
I had a crazy idea a couple weeks ago. So I stopped hiking for a while. So I joined this acting meetup. And I was in this acting meetup, and people were all excited because they said, oh, you're such a natural and so forth. So one of the women in the meetup was actually in the original Archie's band.
Wow.
Which was one of the first corporate type bands that they put together. So I was brainstorming. I'm saying, geez, we have to really get Lovappy off the ground. I kind of almost want to create an Archie's type band for Lovappy, get a Lovappy sound going. Real corny.
Sounds awesome, actually.
Real corny.
Yeah.
State of the art. And now it's the whatever, the Lovers, the Lovebirds, whatever.
Right.
Whatever name I come up with, because I just, even though I don't get music, I can't perform it. When I was a kid, I never knew the names of the songs, nor did I know the artist names.
Really?
I would still have my Naugahyde rectangle square radio by my side with the metal antenna that came out of it.
Yeah, of course.
And I would listen to music all night long because as a kid, not now, but as a kid, I could not sleep. I was always nervous, always, one eye open. And I listened to music, Michael Jackson, all the great classics of the 70s, the 60s.
Yeah.
Didn't really get into the 80s because I was working by then. But I loved the music and just the sound of it. The next day, I could never remember the lyrics. If I were out in the playground, I couldn't say, "Oh, did you hear the Rolling Stones?" I had no idea.
Interesting, yeah.
But I really love the music, and I think that in a way, the music and the lyrics moved my life in a certain direction.
Sure.
And I don't think we have enough of that now. So I want Lovappy to do that with Lovappy Radio. want people to tune in and hear
Yeah.
people like you.
Yeah.
And maybe you can give them a sample of your music right now.
Sure. I'd love to do that.
Just explain what the song means first.
Okay. Well, the song was written, like I said before, during the time of knowing that I wanted my ex to come home and I wanted another chance for us to reconcile. It was kind of a pleading song telling him, come home. Let's try again.
Great. Can we hear it? I'll let you get tuned
I can play
up.
some of it, yeah. Because like I said, it's a work in progress. I mean, so I can definitely play you a little bit.
Okay, let me hold your mic for
thank
you.
you.
We'll hear you sing and play. And she's playing a small little guitar. What kind of guitar is this?
It's a Yamaha. It's a little travel guitar. It's a little Yamaha travel guitar. It's a full guitar. It's just a smaller size for travel. It's a great little.
She's just tuning up, folks.
Yeah, just gonna. I'm slow when I tune up just because it really helps me get focused. A lot of musicians will tune up really quick, but I enjoy the process, so I'm a little flat there. I'm almost ready. I'm going to do it. You ready? Sing soft, loud and free, because the heart it wants to be. Sing soft and let me know. Sing soft. The heart it wants to be seen. A little off because of that string down there that I snapped and broke. I can't believe it, but you get the idea. It's sing soft but loud and free. Sing soft because the heart it wants to be seen with eyes that love from all the glory above. And that's the gist of it.
I hope we'll hear the song when it's finalized.
I hope you can too.
And I hope you can motivate some other musicians to step up and bring their music to us.
I really wanted it to be a message, you know. I think music has a message, and if it resonates with people, and that's a positive thing. And this song was really meant to talk to him and tell him, it's okay, come home, we'll try again. And, you know, the last line of the song is like, you pick me up, we drive back home. Because that's, you know, it comes full circle. And I broke the string. I think I was meant to do that. If I break a string, I was meant to do that.
Okay.
I've always feel very strongly about things, and so maybe what I was meant to do is complete the song and then play it in its entirety, so that because it's a beautiful piece.
Sure, we can get together again. I'd love to hear it.
It'd be awesome.
What's your favorite artist?
Well, the Beatles, John Lennon. I mean, it's hard to pick just one. I like Amy Winehouse. I like Karen Carpenter. I like Natalie Merchant. You know, the Stones. I like a lot of doo-wops because my father listened to doo-wop. So
right.
I like harmonies, like the Eagles.
Right.
It's hard to just pick a favorite, but, you know, because it all matters to me. It's all important. So I could never say just one.
Well, interestingly enough, we're going to be interviewing Karen Carpenter, but not the
Karen Carpenter. I was going to say, she's coming back from the dead. No. That'd be really something.
I go to a particular bank, and whenever I'm making a deposit, there's a woman there. Her name is Karen Carpenter, and she's a customer. But I usually joke around at the counter, and she's like laughing hysterical constantly. So I turned to her and said, hey, you know, I'd like to interview you. And it turns out that, you know, we're going to have a pretty serious interview.
Yeah.
Her daughter was just shot in July.
Oh, my goodness.
By supposedly her boyfriend. So
my goodness.
It should be a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, that's sad.
But I wanted to thank you for coming here tonight and taking your time to meet me for the first time, and also to, you know, step up and try to perform with your guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hearing the song in its entirety.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I mean, you really don't get these kinds of opportunities often. And when they come to you, you just have to be gracious. But I'm a gracious person. I feel that I've lived a blessed life. And up to this point, I've been very thankful and grateful for everything I have. And even for the things that I've lost. Because when you lose, it makes you go deeper, you know?
Yeah.
And I really feel pleased. And I want to thank you again, because this was just a really good thing. It was a really cool thing to meet you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, good night.
Good night.